My day was going great, just pushed a code update, but then the pager started humming. Oops, did I just delete half the production fleet? That sinking feeling's coming from deep within my plumbing. Now my life is flashing, hope my boss will show compassion, and I really, really need someone to say, hey, hey, it's gonna be okay. You didn't just set fire to your resume. This happens to the best. Try not to get too stressed. It'll be an awesome story someday. I tweaked a small config. My day was going great, just pushed a code update, but then the pager started humming. Oops, did I just delete half the production fleet? That sinking feeling's coming from deep within my plumbing. Now my life is flashing, hope my boss will show compassion, and I really, really need someone to say, hey, hey, it's gonna be okay. You didn't just set fire to your resume. This happens to the best. Try not to get too stressed. It'll be an awesome story someday. I tweaked a small config. Turns out that it was big, and now my app has been beheaded. Whoa, when I do something wrong, I fear I don't belong. How can the world forget it? We're trending now on Reddit. Oh, mistakes will find you, but you've got a team behind you. Oh, so fix the process, yes, but don't dismay. Oh, hey, hey, it's gonna be okay. We'll do a full post-mortem some other day. It was a swing and miss, but we will learn from this, and we'll all be better engineers.
Like, look, here's what you need to know when something gets destroyed. If there's negligence or malice, then you shouldn't be employed. But if a human is assuming, then the problem is the system. It's gut-wrenching, butt-clenching, but you work with them. It can happen to a junior or to a senior. Just because you caused a little pause doesn't mean you're incompetent. It means you're doing work with real effect. It's a scar of battle, baby. That'll earn you some respect.
We all have been there, made a slip or 2 or 10 there, so we try to do a blameless RCA. Hey, it's gonna be okay. You will still be here when this blows away. We've all screwed something up, so welcome to the club. We would love to hear your story. Hey, it's gonna be okay. You will still be here when this blows away. We've all screwed something up, so welcome to the club. We would love to hear your story someday.
Well, good evening. Got something brand new to start us off with tonight, so all aboard the hype train. Hype trains a comin', I hear it around the bend. Hype trains a comin', it's carrying some new tech trend for me. Can't wait to see what it will be. Hype trains a comin', it might be cloud or Gen AI. It might be better, worse, or metaverse, but it won't pass me by. It might not stay for very long, but I'll enhance my resume before it's gone. Hype trains a comin', I hear its mighty wheels saying Kubernetes, 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 Kubernetes. Can't help but love the way it feels to let it roll right over me. Hype trains a comin', and the party's hummin'. On that train, the good times roll. For the startup selling shovels in a frantic rush for gold at hackathons. The hustlers grind, buy their courses, books, and Substacks, or you're sure to fall behind. Hype trains a comin', 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 hype trains a leavin'. There go the last VCs. They leave behind a tangled wreck of burnout and abandoned MVPs and another JavaScript framework somehow. Hype trains departing. Now the hard work's starting. We'll clean up that software core and eventually build systems that are better than before. But as the work becomes mundane, we'll cast our eyes to the horizon for that inbound train. Oh, there's a part of us, however tiny, that loves the new and shiny, that longs to hear that whistle blow. There's a part that wants to wow our peers, to sit up front and wave and steer, to be real live gosh darn engineers. And that's how they get us. Hype trains are coming. It's back again, my friends. The track's a giant circle, so the excitement never ends, you see. Now just hang on, everybody, whoa! Hype trains are coming. Hype trains are coming. Thank you very much. My name is Forrest Brazeal. It's great to be here with you tonight at Upscale. I'm kind of a long-time cloud and DevOps guy. Most recently, I was at Google Cloud, and I left there just a month or two ago, partly on a quest to become less cynical about the technology industry. And as you can see so far, that's going very well. Listen, you know, tonight what we're going to try to do is go on a quest for the joy of what we do, the joy of software engineering, and some of the things that steal that joy from us, and some practical ways we can get it back. And of course, hype can be kind of a double-edged sword. It brings joy, it takes joy, whatever. But I think one of the primary things that steals our joy as engineers, as operators, is just organizational dysfunction, right? I've been in companies that have gone on these multi-year DevOps transformations, and sometimes at the end of that time, all we had done is kind of refactored ourselves into slightly different silos. You know, I like silos, right? They're safe, they're warm, they're comfortable. Sometimes they're full of corn. There's really, you know, there's nothing better than a silo until it's time to change the status quo, right? Time to change the way we do things. And then they become missile silos. And I had seen this so much in my career that I decided to write a song about it. And the song is called The Reorg Rag. Would you like to hear it? All right. All right, let's see how this goes. Well, our company used to have these big silos. We had dev and ops in 2 different rows, and they'd rarely communicate except to fight. So we said we're gonna make ourselves a dedicated DevOps team because everybody loves a go-between. We're gonna break these silos down, we're gonna do it right. We're gonna do a little reorg, yes sirree. This time we're gonna fix this company. We're gonna have this DevOps thing in the bag after one more round of the reorg rag. Well, the DevOps team started hot as heck, but they soon became kind of a bottleneck. And instead of 2 silos, now we had 3. So we said we're gonna make dev do their own ops now. It's all in the cloud, they can figure out how. And we believe the term for this is SRE. We're gonna do another reorg, yes sirree. This time we're gonna fix this company. We're gonna storm the silos and capture the flag after one more round of the reorg rag. Well, it turns out ops is incredibly tough, and our devs soon said they'd had enough, so we brought back ops, but now they needed more. They said you're gonna need a platform team to guard and guide, and the DBAs wouldn't come along for the ride. We had silos everywhere, and they were all at war. So here's where we're at. I'm on the tooling team, which is owned by dev, but functionally, it rolls up under this new cloud COE, which was recently spun out of Corp IT with a dotted line to security, and some of those folks still report to me. I think technically I'm my own VP. We're gonna need a bigger reorg. Yes, sirree, somebody put us out of our misery because my optimism may start to sag. If we play another round of the play another round of the play another replay another replay another replay another replay another replay another play another round of the reorg rag. Thank you very much. So actually, let me tell you a little secret. That song actually got me in a lot of trouble at Google. I'm not even kidding. So I put this out on the internet. It started getting some attention. The next thing I knew, I had a direct message from Google Cloud's chief marketing officer, a lovely person. And the message just said, I just want you to know that I liked it, which is never what you want to hear from someone that you rarely hear from. And it turned out what had happened was people I didn't know at Google were putting in complaints to HR, and they were saying, he's spilling company secrets. Which is, kind of a classic case of telling on yourself, I think. But just sort of underscores the point. Organizational dysfunction is a thief of joy. You know what's another thief of joy? Enterprise architects. No, they're great people. I think their mothers probably love them. But at one company I worked at, we had enterprise architects that designed this amazing CI/CD pipeline for us. It was state of the art, and this is what it looked like when all was said and done. So we had kind of a automated testing step, and then we would build our code and we would deploy it to a development environment. And when we had done that, we would probably make a few manual tweaks, and then we would promptly forget about the tweaks and deploy everything to our staging environment. Of course, when we got there, nothing would work right. So we would make some more tweaks, and then we would wait for change approval. And we would wait for that, probably until the sun burned out, whereupon we would escalate to our director, and everything would be approved sight unseen. And then all we had to do was just wait for our 3 a.m. maintenance window and deploy to production. And as you might expect with a well-designed process like that, everything worked perfectly. No, just kidding, right? Why would any of this work? Errors followed, downtime, panic, a 50-person conference call with just all your favorite people on it. And then after many, many more manual tweaks, production would finally be returned, it's not really to a working state, but let's say to an acceptably broken state. And then the final step of this state-of-the-art CI/CD pipeline was we would all run to LinkedIn to update our skills with DevOps, automation, and troubleshooting. I wish I could say that was an exaggeration. If anything, that's understating the problem. But notice what's going on here, right? We're calling this CI/CD, but we've got some ITIL mixed in. There's automation, but not really. We're calling it continuous delivery, but then we have these maintenance windows in the middle of everything, right? So if you let this sort of thing go on, before long, nobody knows what words mean anymore. And then what happens then is you develop these warring factions, right, where everybody's got their own fiefdoms, their own definitions, and their own pet projects that they're defending from each other. And you know who likes to jump in the gap between those factions? Vendors. Now, again, I like vendors. I've worked for some. But there are some of them that they promise joy. They promise solutions, right? That's just joy by another name. But oftentimes what they deliver is just sprawl. The song that I'm going to play for you now is probably the song of mine that the most people have heard around the world. But because I recorded it during the pandemic, and then I was working for Google, it has never been performed live until right now. I genuinely don't know how this is going to go, so hang in there with me. This is 168 AWS services in 2 minutes. There's MQ, EC2, and Redshift and game lifting glue. There's Lumberyard, Light, Salem, Work Docs, and Workmail with Work Link and Private Link 2. Detective, Inspector, and Trusted Advisor, Cognito, Corretto, S3. Data, Pipeline, and Data Sync, App Mesh, and App Syncer. You could use SimpleDB, but don't. AppStream, TimeStream, Augmented AI, Auto Scaling, Lambda Amplify. Oh, Direct Connect or Just Connect, Configure RDS. These are the major services of AWS, CLI, CDK, TextRack, Lex, FSX, and X-Ray, SNSSC, SSQ, SST, SEFS, do your best, it's okay. Athena and Poly and Kendra and Macy, Alexa for Business, Cloud9, Code Artifact, Code Build and Code Deploy, Code Commit, Code Pipeline, Code Guru, CodeStar, and Chatbot, and Chime, Translate, Transcribe, Transfer Family, all the many things of IoT. Oh, there's CloudFormation, LakeFormation, FreeRTOS. These are the major services of AWS. Proton, Elemental, VMware, and AWS. This key change is brought to you by KMS, Comprehend, Inferench, Deep Learning, Deep Racer, Deep Lens, Deep Composer, Aurora, and then Cost Explorer to track your expanding expense. Service Catalog, Artifact, QuickSight, Device Farm, and Workspaces, Glacier is cold. Robo Maker, Sumerian, Kafka, Kinesis, Control Tower, Pinpoint, and Fargate, I'm told. Recognition, fraud detectors, cool. Wavelength, blockchain, well-architected tool, although half of them start with Amazon for reasons we can't guess. These are the major services of AWS. Now it's time to deploy Global Accelerator. VPC, ELB, and the database Route 53. There's Compute Optimizer and Personalizer, Event Bridge QLDB. There's Cloud Search and Cloud Watch and Cloud Map and Cloud Run, Cloud Trail and Cloud HSM. And there's SageMaker, Step Functions, WAF, ACM, ECR, EM, RSA, RAM, and there's Outposts and Opsworks and organizations and Snow, SSO, and NetFlow, and Ground Station, and DynamoDB, and DocumentDB, and Neptune, and Keyspaces, Shielding, RDuty, and the Elastics, and the Managers, and the Dashboards, and the Hubs. I'm cheating now. We got to wrap this up. Greengrass Forecast, Tools and SDKs, Storage, Transit, and API Gateways. Oh, there's Bracket and Budgets, and Backup and Batch, EC, SEK, SEBS. These are the major services, for all intents and purposes, till Reinvent writes a new verse, that is, of AWS. Thank you. My wife is in the audience tonight. She's never heard that live before either. So if that doesn't give her the ick, I don't know what could. Anyway, if all that happened as a result of these warring factions and these organizational dysfunctions and these sprawling code bases is that we lost our joy, I think a lot of us could probably pick up our paycheck and move on with our lives, but of course that's not the worst that happens, right? Production goes down and it doesn't come back up. You might have what I call a false flag attack, which is where a disgruntled dev sets all of the feature flags in your code base to false. Or you might have to be on that horrible call where the CISO tells the CEO, yeah, somebody's in our network. It's not us, we don't know who they are, and we don't know what they've touched. So we're going to have to shut the entire company down, right? Those are not the calls you want to be on. And if you go through enough of that kind of thing, you may end up with the ultimate thief of joy, which is cynicism. What do they say in Dune? What's the mind killer? Fear is the mind killer. I actually don't agree with that fully. At least fear can motivate you to do something, even if it's the wrong thing, But cynicism is the ultimate anti-motivator, right? Cynicism says hope is dead and trying is useless, and there's no point in trying to make things better because they're only going to get worse. I am not going to leave you in a place of cynicism today. We're going to pull ourselves out of this pit together, one step at a time. And so the first practical, tactical thing we're going to talk about to bring back some of that joy as developers is simply challenging buzzwords. You say, what's a buzzword? Here's my definition. A buzzword is any term of art, jargon phrase, whatever, that turns critical thinking into magical thinking. Okay? Let me give you an example. This is a real guy, based on a real guy. I met him a few years ago. He was working for a hardware vendor that shall remain nameless. And he had this real, it was Dell, and he had this real bee in his bonnet about cloud, which he apparently felt was a buzzword. And he says, who needs the cloud? Our customers, they're seeing like 80% server utilization across their data center environments, right? And he was really exercised about this, about defeating that buzzword of cloud. But if you notice, he's actually using another buzzword there, isn't he? What is it? Shout it out. Say it loud. Utilization. That is a really boring buzzword, But it is a buzzword because when you hear it, your brain just starts to shut down, doesn't it? And that little bit of imposter syndrome inside you says, I don't totally know what he's talking about, but he really sounds like he knows what he's talking about, so I'm going to shut up and pretend I get it, and maybe everything will all just make sense later on. It won't make sense later on. So it'll make less sense as time goes on. So what you have to do is challenge the buzzword and ask the question, utilized how? Right? Now, I don't know how his customers were running their data centers, but I can tell you some of the servers I've seen. So let's break it down, shall we? Now, 20% we know is free space right off the bat, so that's grayed out. But what else do we have here? 25% of that server space might just be monitoring agents and management tools, right? No workloads at all. Another 20% might just be RDP sessions with open browser tabs, right? Bunch of engineers firing up Chrome and Googling, why is this server so slow? 8% is definitely not cryptojacking. It's just an unidentified process. It's fine, don't worry about it. 7% is productive work. Yay, really good. And then the last 20%, of course, is just one majestically inefficient database query, right? There's a lot of ways to get to 80% utilization. When I drew this cartoon and shared it out, I thought, I don't know, this may not resonate with anybody. Maybe nobody's seen this. What I found was that I was not being intense enough in what people were doing. I had one person tell me they had engineers at their company, they had this mandate across the team that you had to get to 80% utilization or whatever it was. So they had engineers writing for loops with time.sleeps in them. That is a real story from a real company to bring up to 80% utilization. Challenge those buzzwords or that will happen to you, right? And you'll find that as you bring back some of your control over your language, you bring back some joy into your job. Okay. The second, whoa, there we go. The second really tactical thing that I want to talk to you about, and we're running a little short on time, so we'll have to move quickly here. The second thing I want to talk to you about is just psychological safety. We modeled that in the first video recorded song that we played, right? And a lot of us are familiar with that concept at a team level. This idea that you want to have blameless postmortems and you want to focus on fixing the process. But I think a lot of us don't think enough about what psychological safety means for us as an individual. You have to make a personal choice to say, my self-worth is separate from the projects I'm given and the code that I work on and the bugs that they may have, right? And I'm not going to let my ego, I'm not going to get my self-loathing get in the way of that. That's actually really hard. I've struggled with that a lot. And so I want to do a little exercise with you all tonight. We're going to model psychological safety as a room here, okay? This is very scary for me. I don't know how this is going to go. I haven't actually done this with an audience before. But we're going to improvise a tech song together right now. Are you up for that? Okay. Let's do it. All right. So we may go down crashing in musical flames, but we're going to give it a try. So I need a programming language, a configuration language, something that you're using, hopefully, in production right now. Just shout it out. What? YAML, I heard. What else? Give me a couple more. Python is good. What else? Give me a couple more. Yes. Nix. I heard Nix. Oh, I love Nix. Someone sitting in the front row today, who shall remain nameless, Chase, said to me, what is Nix? Can you explain Nix to me? I cannot explain Nix, but I can write a song about Nix. You want to do it? Should we do Nix? All right. Now I need a musical style to play this in. Something I play on the piano. Somebody shout it out. Bebop. Okay, I heard jazz, I heard swing, bebop, I heard a lot of that kind of thing. That all works great. Okay, so it'll be something like that, theoretically. All right, so this is a kind of old school, show tune, swing kind of song, and it is called Nix. So let's see. Look, up in the sky. It's a configuration language. No, it's a package manager. Well, maybe it's a build system, but it's also an operating system, kind of. You know what it is? It's Nix. Nix. There's no problem pure functions can't fix with Nix. Nix. I outgrew Docker when I was like 6. Let's see. We don't know if it's a package manager or an OS. It's basically too beautiful for words, I guess. But when you see the light, you'll be shining at your desk with the power and glory of Nick. All right. Hopefully that's now clear as mud. No, but okay, so that was scary, right? But we got through that together. That was really fun. Maybe we'll do another one of those later if we get a chance after the lightning talks, and if you all don't have a bunch of other things to get to. We'll see. But anyway, for right now, I want to move on to the third and final tactical, practical thing we can do to increase our joy. Quite simply, is just mentorship. So look, at some point in your career, you're going to reach a point where you can't derive more from being the person who pushes the big red button and deploys the thing to prod and sees that it works, right? You've got to start living vicariously through people on your team that you've mentored, and you've got to start getting excited and deriving joy from them advancing in their careers and them building cool things. Putting multiple groups of people together that hate each other and seeing them actually work together and build something on their own. That takes, some practice and work to get there, but there's a really deep and fulfilling joy that comes once you sublimate your own desires and learn to live in that world. And I want to sing a little song for you tonight that just kind of models that way of thinking. It's called You Belong. You won't always feel like a rock star. Sometimes you'll struggle just to carry the tune. In the mirror you'll see an imposter, and you'll wonder if the whole world's smarter than you, and stronger and faster, and you're a disaster. But baby, you're wrong, 'cause you belong. Even when you don't believe it, you belong. I've got help here when you need it, just hold on. Yeah, the road ahead looks steep, so take my hand, we'll make the leap together. Oh, 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 you belong. Oh, oh, oh. Sometimes you'll feel kind of burned out. You'll work with folks who seem diffuse and unfair. Or you'll have a dream and it turns out that no one else around you seems to care. And when you see what you're up against, it's fine to fight, to feel incensed, or just to move on. 'Cause you belong in a place where you're supported. You belong where you're challenged and rewarded. Just hold on as you feel your power growing. You can choose the way you're going, and it's oh, 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 where you belong. Oh, 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 oh. And one of these days you're gonna reach the mountaintop. Yeah, it's not if, but when. And when you do, I hope you'll take a beat to stop and celebrate how far you've come. Remember where you've been, and then reach back to those behind you. Shine a light so they can find you. Help the ones you can. Then sing to them again, tell them you belong. When you're new and nervous, then you still belong. I know it 'cause I've been you, just hold on. Yeah, the road ahead looks steep, so take my hand, we'll make the leap together. Oh, 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 you belong. Oh, 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 let's sing it together now. Oh, 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 you belong. Oh, 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 I can't hear you, let's try it again. Oh, 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 where you belong. Oh, oh, oh. Thank you. All right, I have one last song to play for you, but I want to leave you with this. We started by singing about hype, right? And about how it, kind of fuels excitement and brings joy, even as we know it creates some problems we'll have to solve down the road. But we don't always get to work on the latest new and shiny thing, do we? Some of us are, supporting things that have been around a while, that may not be the most exciting, flashy thing in the world, but they pay the bills and they do important work. While you're thinking about that, let me remind you real quick. My name is Forrest Brazeal. My website is goodtechthings.com. I have a lot of songs, a lot of cartoons and things there. Please check that out. You can subscribe to my mailing list there, get all the new cartoons and videos and things first. So please do check that out. I'm at Forrest Brazeal on all the many social platforms that exist now. So whichever of those is your flavor of choice, you can probably find me there. Anyway, but listen, we build these legacy systems, and there's value in that, there's joy in that. And so I want to finish tonight by saying that, even if you're working on these systems that are 30, 40 years old, maybe in some cases, that work is worth doing, right? There's joy to be found there. And I want to encourage you that you can find that joy, and you can add value, even in legacy land. Last night I dreamed about the green field again, where I could build whatever I wanted to. No constraints or workarounds in that moment of zen. But then my pager woke me and I knew I'm living in legacy land, modernizing whatever I can while the past is always chasing me. We missed a payment on our technical debt, but we haven't defaulted yet. We're gonna see if we can outrun entropy here in legacy land. Last week the build server fell over again. It's leaking memory, but hey, aren't we all? We're on an agile journey, someone tell me when. We get there, I still see the waterfall. I found some code that caused me physical pain, an ancient kludge of sheer incompetency. I called the whole team in and well, I ran get blame. Turns out the guy who made the mess was me. We're living in legacy land, duct tape stuck to our sweaty hands, and nothing seems ideal, with weird acquisitions coming into the fold and temporary fixes that are 10 years old, but still we're shipping something real here in legacy land. Remember, the people who made those long ago technical decisions were doing their best with the resources they had, and what they built is still here because it works. That's what legacy means, and we celebrate that, even as we work to make it better. We're always working on performance and scale, refactoring and optimizing things that got stale, adding value where we can. We're living in legacy land. It's messy and weird, but on the other hand, yeah, so is most of reality. And slowly, surely, whenever I do get to add in something new, well, if I'm lucky, the best reward will be a whole new legacy. A legacy. I'm living in a legacy land. Thank you very much. Y'all are wonderful. Who's ready for some lightning talks? All right. Hannah and Upscale team, back to you. Thank you all.
Let's hear it one more time for Forrest. Hi, welcome to Upscale. I'm Hannah. I'm your host today. If you haven't been to an Upscale before, here's generally how it works. We've got some great speakers set up for you for the rest of the evening. We have a set number of slides, and they auto-advance on them. So they have no control over their decks after they've sent them to me. So it creates a little bit more fun if they're a little off timing. So that being said, we like to be very supportive when things go wrong, because that's half the fun. So let's practice our clapping for when slides go wrong. Excellent. That's what we like to hear. Okay, so without further ado, let's bring up our first speaker, Naja. Practice the clapping. Yeah, we got it.
Best. How important is AI in our lives? On average, we interact with 30 to 50 different AI systems every single day. This invisible influence shapes our choices, quietly but significantly, from what we watch to what we buy and how we think. So how do we ensure AI understands and adheres to our moral values? And who decides what these values are? These systems encapsulate our collective knowledge, values, and culture. Even our creative expression is being synthesized and perhaps outsourced to AI. While this is very exciting for the evolution of our cognitive abilities, it poses also some ethical considerations. Do we really want our future to be shaped by few companies in Silicon Valley? It's important to think about what that means for diversity and fairness around the world. So, in this debate between open versus closed, I'm here to make the case for open source AI with minimal government intervention, keeping the technology safe yet accessible to all. We shouldn't let the few codify morality. Open source principles ensure democratic approach to ethical considerations. Questions like, what kind of AI do we prefer? One that sugarcoats reality, or one that confronts us with brutal honesty? Just as we have free media, I believe we should have diversity in AI, ensuring plurality of voices and perspectives. And because thought control is a threat, and we should confront it with all what we can. And open source has a track record of elevating technology, making it more accessible, universal, and safer. In fact, the world infrastructure, from cryptography to servers, run on open source. Open source is also safer. Transparency in developing these models ensure that allows for community vetting, bug fixing, and ethical scrutiny. So it all boils down to the question of what kind of world we want to live in. A world of diversity and openness, or a homogeneous and secretive one. Success in AI could be our greatest achievement or our last one. Remember, okay, sorry about that. So yeah, success in AI could be our greatest achievement or our last one, and we must advocate for open source principles and innovate and build with open source models and collaborate with one another for a more inclusive and ethical future. And the best way to raise wonderful children is being a wonderful parent, and we have agency collectively we can guide this technology to a greater future for all. So be a voice and not an echo. Your voice is not just for election day. Your voice is in every social media post, in every blog, and in every Git push you commit. Join the conversation. Sign up for our email newsletter at singularitysyndicate.org. And we also have a podcast, and we'd love to hear from you. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Naja. While we're waiting for Krista to come up, I want to give a quick thank you to CIQ for sponsoring our drinks and cupcakes. Who likes free drinks? So thank you so much to CIQ for sponsoring Upscale. And with that, I'll welcome Krista to the stage. We're clapping, remember? Good job.
Open source communities often rely on volunteers to do the work. This means we can't just hire when we need more people to do the work. We have to be creative. First and foremost, it has to be easy to become a volunteer. How can we expect someone to visit our house if they have a hard time getting in the front door? One way to make it easy is to make shared knowledge accessible. That way anyone who wanders in has a place to get caught up on what the project is up to without needing a personal tour. As a first stop, a code of conduct outlines from the very beginning what a newcomer can expect from a community. This code includes examples of positive behaviors that our community values, like kindness, open-mindedness, and includes examples of behaviors that are considered offensive. And it also outlines the consequences of offensive behavior. When newcomers read this code and realize that there are rules of engagement that protect them, they're reassured to continue further into getting involved in the project. Past that point, you would want newcomers to be able to discover how your project is organized. This happens with clear documentation, both of the project and of how the community works. One way to make documentation stand out is by paying attention to accessibility features, like having a standard pre-reading layout for all documents in a category, or reviewing all documentation for removing outdated or inappropriate language. What's more, documentation needs to be up to date, needs to be supported on a variety of browsers, needs to work across a range of devices, like on mobile or tablet or desktop. All of these are important to making something accessible. It should be easy to contribute to documentation. It should be easy to find the starting point. It should be easy to comprehend for people who might not have English as their first language. And for the more complex parts, there should be easy places to ask a live human for help. Easy is also the word of the day for storing other shared knowledge. A newcomer will want to be able to easily find notes from previous meetings, links to recordings, blog posts, or standard presentations that explain the project. And if that content doesn't exist, because the project isn't actually holding meetings or publishing blogs yet, creating content like that is a great place to start with making a project more accessible. Don't know where to start with blog content? Sometimes that's hard. There should at the very least be an initial post that describes why the project exists and what the project commits to the community. That's a lot of information, and it may be stored in various places within your project. So above all, a project needs a single point of entry that collates where to find all of this shared knowledge, and that's the README file. This is an introductory statement about the project and includes a bullet point list of all of these pieces of information that I've been talking about. And again, the point of documenting all of this shared knowledge is to make the knowledge and the entire project accessible to newcomers. There are a lot more steps to helping people be comfortable in a project, but this shared knowledge is good. After the README is complete, you'll want to start looking at how collaboration works within your project and spend time building your external credibility so that people will have a desire and interest to come visit your project. And most of all, you'll want to engage with users and contributors, and that is actually my very favorite part of building a community. But since I only had 5 minutes, I'll have to save that for another time. My name is Krista Burdine, and I'm in my second year of serving as a community architect for the RESF and for Rocky Linux, which is our flagship project. If you have any interest in talking more about building community, I'll be here all weekend at booth 218. Thank you all for your attention.
Thank you so much, Krista. And now I'd love to welcome Elias to the stage. Remember, we've got to give our big rounds of applause in between.
Hi, my name is Elias, and today I want to talk about how we took an open source company across the pond, specifically from Germany to the United States. Really quick about me, my name is Elias. I am from Germany. I'm not an engineer, despite what many people think about Germans, or as most of the people here. I've been with CheckMK for more than 5 years, and I came to the US for CheckMK to build it up here. For those of you who don't know CheckMK, I don't know if anybody knows CheckMK, we're an open source monitoring platform. We are one of the grown-up grandchildren of Naja. And if you want to learn more, stop by our booth. We're over there in the exhibition hall all weekend. Now, there's a company behind CheckMK. We're 170-something people, 4,500 customers. We've been doing IT monitoring for more than 15 years, and we're really big on open source. That's what we do. That's what we are. This is where we're from. Those of you, I don't know if some of you recognize this picture. This is Munich. It's a really nice city. If you have been, great. If you haven't been, you should go. It's really nice. Munich is in Bavaria, and what Bavaria is known for is this: beer, pretzels, the Oktoberfest, which, fun fact, is not in October, it's in September. What we're much less known for is actually something else. It's this. It's software. If people know software from Germany, it's from Berlin. There are some great software companies in Berlin, but they're weird. There's also great software companies in Munich. We're one of them. And you might want to ask yourself, well, why does this open source company from Germany want to go to the US? Well, I'll tell you why we did that. You know, as one of my favorite basketball bloggers says, why would you do that? Well, we look at where our downloads come from. Obviously, Germany far ahead. And then there's the US, roughly 1/3 of our downloads that we get from Germany, and there's France and Italy and all the other big countries in the world. Now, if we look at our revenues, that looks different. You know, we have Germany, and then there's the US, much smaller than Germany, and then there's France and Italy and all the other big countries. Well, where did that go? And this is basically what we saw as our opportunity. So we moved to Atlanta. Why Atlanta? Longer story. If you want to learn that, stop by our booth. I'll tell you everything about it if you want to hear it. But that's where we are. We're in Atlanta. We love it. Anybody from Atlanta? So when we got there, we literally started building stuff. You know, a company, furniture. Every piece in our furniture in our office was hand-assembled by me using these highly professional German engineering tools. And then we did recruiting. But as you all know, it's kind of hard to find people. One does not simply go recruiting. But if we're already sticking with the Lord of the Rings theme, you know, we're kind of like Aragorn in some ways. Less good looking, but you know, we also had like a convenient army of invisible helpers that came at the right moment to help turn the tide against the Googles and the Metas and the New Relics and whatnot. And that was our open source community. The CheckMK community. I don't know if anybody's here who isn't part of the CheckMK community. We're thousands of users, actually one of the most active monitoring communities in the world. There's a ton of things, there are tons of contributors on GitHub. There's a ton of other things that people can do in the community. We have a translation project, we have user group meetings, there's a feature portal. But in our specific case, when we moved over from Germany to the US, the community was incredibly helpful. You know, they introduced us to people. We went on podcast interviews, like Chuck from the CDC introduced us to the Atlanta Linux enthusiasts, the ALE. We're doing events. We got applications like for roles. And the result of that is that 18 months in, we've recruited 12 people. 2 new people started this week. We have a few more starting very soon. We more than doubled our US business. We've established a meetup series. We're doing the first CheckMK conference in the US this June, so if that's interesting to you, check that out. And this is thanks to, you know, all of these people and, you know, some that don't have a nice avatar that you can put on a slide. But this is our open source community. This is people from our forum, and this is my way of saying thank you. Thank you for being such a great community. Thanks for the power of these communities, and we couldn't have done it without them.
Thank you so much, Elias, and hopefully you're able to bring more of your community, and maybe you can teach us how to move to Munich if we're tired of being here. I think maybe that'll be next year's presentation. All right, and without further ado, I'd like to welcome Sash to the stage.
Hi, I'm Sash. Thanks for having me. Fair warning, my talk is non-technical, and it's about some of my learnings over the last decade of working as a tech marketer. My career spans a couple of decades, but the last 10 years have exclusively been in the open source software infrastructure space. It's been a while since I've spoken in front of an audience, and I think I only have 30 seconds per slide. So this is going to test my speed reading, speed talking, and your speed comprehension. So first, a little bit about me. My day job is head of growth and partnerships at OpenMetal. OpenMetal is an infrastructure as a service provider and has built a platform that fuses the best of public cloud, private cloud, and bare metal, all powered by open source tech. I also organize the Open Infra Los Angeles user group, so if you are interested, do hit me up. A few more fun facts about me, a QR code for my LinkedIn. This talk stemmed from both a personal challenge to push myself to speak on a public podium, as well as a curiosity on how I could present in a fun, relatable way the importance of collaboration between marketing and technical teams. In this talk, I will attempt to share some of my learnings and experiences as a tech marketer against the backdrop of classic sci-fi. All the background images are abstract concepts of their sci-fi counterparts and were generated using DALL-E 3. Okay, I'm gonna take a deep breath, and then once it goes, I'm gonna start speed talking, so let's do this. Open source, like the Force from Star Wars, is a pervasive and unifying energy and technology. It's everywhere, from the operating systems and web servers that power our digital world to the devices we use every day. It fosters innovation and democratizes technology, driving rapid technological advancements. But remember, just as the Force has a light and dark side, open source faces ethical challenges that require thoughtful navigation to ensure that it remains a force for positive change. The United Federation of Planets from Star Trek and the OpenStack community showcase the power of diverse groups collaborating toward shared goals, mirroring principles of liberty, equality, and open innovation. Their structured governance through councils and foundations facilitates democratic participation and decision-making. They unite in their diversity to innovate, one in space exploration, the other open source infrastructure. Like Neo's journey in the Matrix, marketers in tech undergo a transformative journey to evolve their skills and perceptions to master the complex landscape. It's not just about learning new tools, but understanding the interconnectedness of technology, consumer behavior, and trends. For me, this goes beyond mere tactics. It's about embracing a broader purpose, embodied by the open source community, ethical marketing, and making a real impact. This is like Neo's quest for mastery and understanding in a constantly shifting world. Whoops. Drawing in inspiration from the Babelfish in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the need for clear communication between technical teams and marketers is crucial in my role. Like the Babelfish makes disparate beings understand each other, a shared communication model and collaborative discussions are vital for our success, making complex ideas accessible and fostering a unified company culture and building trust with our customers. The Time Lord's Library in Doctor Who, this is not it, because there was copyright stuff, with its comprehensive collection spanning the universe and time, exemplifies the essence of documentation and knowledge management. This vast repo allows them to grasp the universe's complexities, foresee futures, and make informed decisions. I believe, in our case, all teams in a technical organization must view documentation as a crucial group ability, just like one of the other speakers spoke about. Last, John Crichton's Odyssey in Farscape. Any fans? Navigating through a universe of unfamiliar cultures and technologies mirrors the journey of tech marketing teams. Crichton's experiences and alliances underscore the importance of embracing diversity of opinion, background, and skill sets, learning and adapting to new technologies, and the necessity of effective communication. This metaphor, and all of the others, eliminates the importance for me for marketers and technical teams to work hand in hand to innovate together as we travel through time and space while building a better future for all. Thank you.
How about now? Okay, great. Welcome back to the microphone. Let's give an extra special round of applause for Sash for getting on stage after a few years. It's incredible. All right, and I'd like to welcome our next speaker up, Michael.
Got it. I hope I didn't just lose myself like 20 seconds. Last year, I left a particularly PTSD-inducing job. And like many people in that situation, I lost my 20 seconds. I decided to go and spend my time working in a wood shop. And after making cutting boards like the previous one for quite a while, I kind of got bored and decided to try something new. I was going to make an end grain cutting board, which is what one of my colleagues in the slide off on the right was doing. That's where you take the wood and slice it a second time and turn the pieces on the edge so the end of the wood is what's sticking up. So I went online and found a designer program, and I came up with this bricks and mortar design that has 11 or 12 layers. Didn't look like something I couldn't do with my skills. Set up everything. When I went for the final glue up, something was wrong. All the pieces of wood, all the layers were splayed out at the ends. Could not figure out what it was. I started getting really frustrated. Fortunately, the woodshop manager is somewhat calmer than me, also an ex-tech guy, came over, made me realize really quickly I have to either finish this or throw it away. So we finished it, and it came out weird. It was bulged in the middle. And we did a little bit of what any good tech people would do, and we did a post-mortem, correction of errors, and realized that every single one of those pieces of wood had a cross-section that looked approximately like this, where it bulged by about 2/100ths of an inch in the middle, which in the normal scale of woodworking would not be a big deal. But I had 22 layers, and some of you know about stacking tolerances, and that led to about 1/2 inch of bulge across this board. And that is not a Photoshop. The wood actually curves. I have the actual object here. I tried to figure out for a while what could I do with this thing, and eventually decided I just had to lean into it, and decided, well, I'll make the short edges round as well, and just have this completely bizarre object that I never could have imagined or tried making had it not been for this accident. And then I did what I should have done in the first place, which is I started over, and I did the simple things. I made a basic one with maple, which is a cheap wood. And then I made, yeah, easier to experiment when you're not wasting a lot of money. Then I made a more complex one with cherry and walnut, which I really love, and even put a juice groove on it. And eventually I made the thing that I had started wanting to make. And I learned a bunch of things, or I relearned a lot of things that I should have known in the first place. Use the right tool. The whole source of this problem, we found out, was I had used the wrong tool to flatten the wood. That's what gave me that 1/100th of an inch. And if you have to switch a tool, consider the impact. Know the tolerances. Know how the tolerances stack. In tech, often they multiply or go exponential. It gets really nasty really fast. Ask for help. I am awful at this, but fortunately I had someone there who noticed me. Remember, this is the universal DevOps signal. Use it. Do something when an event is going on. Don't just sit there, because you can figure it out later. Just solve the immediate problem. But then again, start simple. Be willing to try again. And consider, was this really wrong? It came out pretty cool. But the big takeaway is that our knowledge applies everywhere. We tend to compartmentalize things. This stuff that I know in my tech job just sort of never really translated into the wood shop. And there are probably other things all over my life and all over your lives that you're compartmentalizing into, this is a piece of my tech knowledge. It doesn't apply over here, or whatever. Don't do that. Our lives are richer when you don't.
All right, thank you so much, Michael. And I'd like to welcome our final speaker on stage for the night, longtime Upscale speaker, but we haven't had him in a few years. So welcome back, Corey.
Thank you. I appreciate that as much as I love the sound of my own voice. So, little over a year ago, ChatGPT, yes, that's how it's pronounced, burst onto the scene and changed a whole bunch of everything forever. Nothing will ever be the same. How do I know this? Because a lot of companies will not shut up for love or money, and if there's one thing they love, it's money. GitHub said they are refounding the company around AI. It's transformative. Hurry, hurry, hurry. And they are YOLO slamming things into production faster than anyone would possibly believe. Developers have been super excited about this, right up until the reason that, wait a minute, they hit a point where suddenly they realize they're at threat too. I saw this coming earlier on. Why? Because the Industrial Revolution process happens to everyone. And as a mediocre white guy, the writing was on the wall. In fact, I am such a mediocre white guy, you probably don't even notice that this isn't actually me. We are interchangeable. We look alike. That's how it works. And I assure you, I am lily white. I have not one, but 2 podcasts. That ketchup there looks dangerously spicy from my point of view. And of course, most of what comes out of my mouth is utter, unfettered bullshit. But because I'm that white guy, it looks a lot more credible than it would otherwise. And this benefits AI, because if you ask it questions, it gives a great surface-level answer. When you dig into it, you realize it makes no sense. It's spitting out bullshit. And then you start to see how much of the world is actually bullshit. All of the things that I do all the time, it's getting better at, faster and faster and faster. And what are we going to do about this societally? There's no time to think about that. We have to raise $7 trillion to make new chips. I mean, I told it to make a better white guy, and look at that. I try to be the best dressed person in tech. Thank you for keeping the bar on the floor, gents. It's appreciated. And look at those suits. They fit so much better. Look at the confidence. Look at the poise. Look at how vacuous they are. But for me, it's not so much about being threatened, it's about being threatened because I'm jealous. I want what AI has. I want what it has been able to grant, something I have always wanted and never gotten. That's right. At AWS, where yes, their corporate comms people do speak like that, they unfortunately don't let me speak on their behalf. This is a problem with all kinds of companies right now, where you have to go through all kinds of training to speak publicly, but that doesn't happen. This is a screenshot of the SCaLE Code of Conduct. I have to use that because of what I actually got the Amazon chatbot to say on a product page for an adult device that is used by people to pleasure themselves. That's right, they sell a Kubernetes. And instead it made a dirty limerick about it. Now, this may not be sympathetic to everyone. It turns out that the problems of mediocre white men are not, in fact, the largest burning problem that people have to deal with. And I get that. Truly I do. But the problem is it comes for all of us, because AI is really built on examining and hoovering up vast amounts of data that companies are busily rewriting privacy policies to help themselves to. And you see that Microsoft's doing well with this. They have social networks and stuff. Google, yes, they've been searching our data forever. But what does Amazon have other than microphones living in everyone's house, and also they recently bought my doctor's office? I'm sure that's not going to be creepily ominous. Honestly, if I wanted to talk about my schmeckle with Amazon employees, I would just go ahead and get a job there as an engineering manager, but that's neither here nor there. Now, people are getting upset about these things, and saying we should outlaw it, but you can't turn back the clock. You can't put that genie back in the bottle because the genie will, in fact, throw hands. So lean into it. Have fun. My daughter asked me to make her a screamy, happy unicorn with one of these things, so I did, and progressively make it screamier and happier. And eventually it becomes actively grotesque in some sort of quantum realm. Other companies are like this, and you can start explaining things. Note the IBM logo and the cart full of clowns, because they haven't quite built a truck full of clowns yet, or a clown car. It's a clown cart. I'm looking forward to seeing what that happens. The point, though, is that this is fine. It will be fine, because whenever you wind up seeing these things evolve, remember, this has happened before. It will happen again. We have fallen for hype cycles, and things tend to work out. The important part is don't lose your sense of whimsy, because in this case, these companies have no sense of humor or ability to laugh at themselves, so we can laugh at them for them, as long as we keep our sense of humor, talking like a corporate comms person at AWS. Thank you all for listening to me. Now back to Forrest, to our musical stuff. There's an old man sitting next to me, making love to his tonic and gin, and the other people in the bar are horrified. Thank you, Forrest.
Thank you, Corey, for always reminding everyone that SCaLE has a very great code of conduct and a safety. All right. Did you guys have a lot of fun listening to Forrest earlier? Should we ask him if he'll sing more songs for us? Maybe just one? Do you think he'd do that for us? Maybe if we clap a lot, he'll come and do it. Thank you so much. Let's have Forrest sing one last song to close us out. Thank you so much to all the Upscale speakers, and thank you again to CIQ for sponsoring Upscale this year. So without further ado, I'll hand it back over to Forrest.
Okay, I know folks need to leave, so I'm going to give you a choice. Would you like to hear another regular song? Do you want to do another improv? Or do you want to do a serverless versus containers rap battle? Sounds like the rap battles have it. Okay, so we're going to get away from the piano for this one. All right, now as you've noticed, I am one person, so I cannot do this by myself. I'm going to need your help, okay? So this half of the room here, I'm going to need you all to be, let's start over here. This half of the room, I'm going to need you to be my serverless fans for tonight, okay? And when I have my serverless hat on, okay, I need you to make some noise. I need you to show some love, all right? Now for this half of the room, when I have my containers hat on, okay, I need you to make some noise, show some love for containers. All right, are we ready? Okay, hang on, let's practice. Serverless side, let me hear you. Okay, all right, that's serverless side, yeah. Container side, let me hear you. Okay. Ooh. I don't know. Oh. Okay. All right. You gotta watch. Okay. So, I don't know. It sounds like the containers are a little more vigorous tonight, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. So we are ready for a serverless versus containers rap battle. So let's drop the beat. You can call me crazy, but it's how my mama raised me. Servers make me nervous, but serverless never fazed me. Maybe I'm lazy, but why deploy a box when abstraction brings the action for a fraction of the cost? My code is in a zip file, requirements in a pip file. Functions, bam, all I do is ship while standing proud in the cloud on the shoulders of the giants. What you need a server for? The value's in the clients. But I wish there was something more portable to wrap my app in. Oh wait, there is. It's called containers. They make crap happen. Check it out. I can build the way I'm used to. It's dope, of course. Run it where I choose. Automate and orchestrate with Kubernetes at the helm. Hand on my tiller, I'm a killer in the service realm. Plus all these Hello World tutorials are slick. So someone call the Docker because the stack is looking sick. See, this is what you do. It's insane. You overcomplicate the name. Kubernetes, so arcane, you spell it with an 8. I'm no cloud economist, but I'm sure you don't want to miss the savings you could find if you put your mind to simplifying this. Are you building Pixar? Is your name John Lasseter? Then why you need a service mesh? Why you need ambassador? Istio, miss me, yo. This kingdom isn't magic. You throw it in production and the outage gonna be tragic. Hey, take a breath, man. You ran kind of long there. Functions have a timeout. You got to save your song there. You got limitations. I run applications. Every enterprise has their eyes on containerizations. Why? Long jobs? Real time? Doesn't matter. I eat hard problems for mealtime, so pass the platter. So many industries left to disrupt. I know your cold start makes it hard, but try to keep up. Check it. 1, 2, 3. He's getting warmer. Wait and see. The latency's no worse than your complacency. Basically, you're basically chasing a place you don't want to be. My services improve all by themselves. They get better. Meanwhile, you're out of luck, stuck chucking out the cheddar. Hey, remember Spectre and Meltdown? You were up all night. Me, I slept. That's right, the cloud provider kept it tight. You can patch your runtimes. I'll have happy fun times. Delivering value while pal, you fight the same old fight. That's great. But wait, let's use our brains here, yo. I got constraints here. I'm running Java 8 here, digging in the brown field, moving the ball downfield. Can't re-architect it all until we look respectable. I just want to build more. That's what I get billed for. Functions are a blast. Our past selves would have killed for. I know, I'm just saying, we're in a different state of being. Yeah, but functions are amazing. And wait, are we agreeing? Obviously, both of us have the same destination. Get rid of heavy lifting with that differentiation. So whether your abstraction is a function or a node, you can get a lot of traction on the old cloud road. If your app goes down at 3 a.m., and it will, you gotta own that. It's your problem still. There's no silver bullet hocus pocus magic guarantee, but when business is your focus, you'll be where you want to be. Y'all have a great night.